Part 5, Sanctuary, Chapter 18. Vant moved to the water where the waves licked the sand. The golden powder transitioned into glossy gray muck. He let the tide lap at his boots. The structure grew larger as he approached. He had yet to be this close. This thing was huge. The fortress had been intentionally placed in a bitch-to-find location, but at this range, and hundreds of miles from the nearest habitable zone, it was not the slightest bit shy in showing off its brilliance. Light bounced off the exterior, with each flawless panel reflecting a vision of the beaming sun. The sleek surface allowed the salt in the air to slide right off. It was eerily beautiful. Vant put himself in the mindset of a traveler stumbling across the gleaming marvel. The ostentatious signage promised everlasting life, while the sophistication of the structure backed up its claims. The whole package would be too tantalizing to resist. The fortress was designed to lure in anyone who might pass by, to suck in strays. Vant passed underneath the glimmering letters which spelled out, "The Immortals." He wanted to release the sarcastic chortle in his throat, but he had to stifle it. At this point, he did not know who, or what, was watching him. He stepped onto a concrete slab in the sand and approached the front door. A gemstone-like button, set between decorative polished spirals, practically begged to be pressed. So he obliged. The bottom of the 6-inch thick steel door scraped away sand that had built up around its base as it slowly opened.
Onward.
Vant thought.
Into wherever the hell.
He entered a hexagonal lobby. The area was sterile, industrial. Ocean water rushed underneath a grated metal floor. The walls were adorned with floor-to-ceiling chambers bubbling with a phosphorescent blue liquid. Thick rubber piping lined the glass containers and ran along the edges of the floor. A closed portal stared at Vant from across the foyer. It appeared to be the only way farther into the compound. Behind Vant, the entrance sealed itself shut.
Deserter presence acknowledged.
A voice emanated. The vocalization was synthesized, exact.
Hi.
Remain still for vitality assessment.
Sure. Go for it.
A transparent scanning commenced. Vant felt nothing out of the ordinary. While waiting, he reminded himself of Grammy's keys to the con, the tactics he would be using to, hopefully, achieve access to the interior of the compound. He was currently entering Phase 1, the titty tweak. Grammy insisted that the first step to every scam was grabbing the attention of a mark in any way possible. To do so, Vant would have to use a powerful weapon. His mouth. The synthesized voice spoke.
Body composition, normal. Heart rate, normal. Cell count, normal. Antibodies, normal. Oxygenation, normal. Subject is in optimum health.
Thanks for the checkup.
Foreign object detected. Nanotransmitter behind right scapula.
A what?
Tracking device. Embedded within subject's muscle tissue.
Yeah, sorry, disembodied voice. Your scanner must be on the fritz.
He was being honest. Vant had nothing of the sort inside of him, that he knew of.
False. Bioscanner functioning with maximum efficiency. Object shall be removed before integration. Additional foreign object detected. Metal splint in left arm.
That was true.
No, don't mind that. That's just the bomb I smuggled in here.
Explosive quantity minimal. Projected damage negligible. Object shall be removed before integration as a precautionary measure.
The bomb's not for you. It's for me.
Explain, deserter.
It's to blow myself up and wash away with the tide.
Vant tapped the metal grate beneath his boot, the barrier between himself and the ocean.
Provide further explanation, deserter.
I'm here for someone you've stolen.
Then you shall be reunited. All those who enter become part of the mass consciousness of the Immortals.
There seems to be some sort of misunderstanding, and let me be clear. In your possession is someone I want returned to me. I want this person out of the mass consciousness of the Immortals.
A pause. Then,
Process the deserter.
Yeah, process the deserter. Great idea. Make the biggest mistake of your so-called immortal life.
the portal leading to the fortress interior opened, revealing 5 Thalium soldiers.
At least I know I'm in the right place.
Vant thought. He said,
I'm not looking for trouble.
The soldiers surrounded Vant. 2 placed their hands on his biceps and lifted him off the ground.
I've come to barter, because I have something that you want.
There is nothing a deserter could offer the Immortals. We are rich in our one purpose, everlasting life.
I think you'll like what I'm offering, and I'll make you a trade. 1 life for mine, straight up, and you should know that there is something special about me.
Explain, deserter.
I can't die. Ever.
The voice was silent. Vant, still suspended by the soldiers, dangled his feet. Keys to the Con Phase 2, the hooker, had begun. Grammy referred to it as the moment a fish nibbled on a baited hook.
Yeah, I know, hard to believe. Process that.
Explain further, deserter.
My name is Sami Fram.
Vant lied.
You've stolen my wife, Lamliel. She goes by the name of Lam Fram, and I want her freed. In exchange, you get me, an honest-to-goodness immortal. And here's the kicker, I can show you how to do it. How to live forever.
We know how to do it. We are the Immortals.
I'm not here to argue semantics, I'm just telling you I also have a method. Any harm in knowing 2 ways?
An immortal who would be killed by a bomb?
I didn't say it would kill me. I said it would blow me into bits. I'll float downstream and start a new life under the sea. I always come back as soon as my body has all the pieces reassembled. I've never started from microscopic chunks mixed with saltwater before, so it may take a few eons to regenerate. Probably grow a set of gills or something, but hopefully it won't come to that. Am I pushing too hard?
Vant wondered. Conning was Grammy's forte. He assumed he was doing okay, but the ambient voice fell silent. Good sign? Bad one?
Prove your worth.
Not a chance. You don't get jack until I see my wife walk out of here on her own 2 feet.
Prove your worth or be processed, deserter.
Batons slid out from the wrists of the soldiers.
Hold on, all right? Let's hammer out the details.
Keys to the Con Phase 3 had started. The fancy finagle.
Here's what I propose. First, you show me my wife. Second, I die. Third, I come back to life. Fourth, you get an erection. Fifth, you let Lam go. And then 6th, I tell you the secrets.
Death first, then you see your wife. Should you return.
He took a pause for dramatic effect. Then,
I can live with that. Get it? Huh? Okay, now for a few provisos. And these are non-negotiable.
Proceed.
When I'm dead, no hacking me up. And no trying to remove the bomb. The hardware is wired to blow if tampered with. All right, no experiments on my body or shoving anything weird into anything sacred. You touch me on the outside if you must and examine me by sight, but that's it. All right, I don't want to wake up with a newfound love of anal probes. And next, I pick the method of death. There's a reason. The worse you break me apart, the longer the recuperation period. I don't have a lot of time here, or should I say my wife doesn't. I don't want her freed with only enough years to enjoy knitting doilies and picking petunias. Kind of defeats the purpose of rescuing her. I love her, and I want her to have a full life.
Die as you please, Sami Fram.
So we have a deal?
Confirmed.
Aces. Then let's get started.
Vant rubbed his hands together. He was anxious to get things moving, but was dreading Keys to the Con Phase 4, the testicle tickle, giving the mark a tease.
You said you can monitor my vitals, right? Well, go ahead and keep your eyes or whatever you have on them. Hey, fella.
Vant tapped the shoulder of one of the soldiers.
Do me a favor, choke me to death? I don't mind. I like you rough.
The enforcer did not have to be told twice. Metal fingers clamped around Vant's neck, squeezing the air from his throat. Small crackles accompanied muscle and bone giving way in his esophagus. Vant's survival instincts kicked in, resisting the inevitable. His heart struggled from deprivation. His gut spasmed, desperate to draw in oxygen. His insides panicked. His muscles twitched. His hands attempted to pull the soldier's fingers apart, and his legs flailed, pushing against the armor in an attempt to break free. Urine dripped down his leg. His ego experienced shame, not only for pissing himself, but also for his body defending itself without permission. The world became fog. A squealing filled his ears. His frame rhythmically convulsed, searching for air in every pocket of his anatomy. It discovered none. His brain understood before his body. A release of serotonin alerted all physicality to surrender. Blackness. Then, the sound of rushing water. Cold metal on his face. Cognitive faculties and motor skills inched back into him. Vant's eyelids resisted, not to open, but to close. He had died with his eyes peeled. They were dried out, and a crust was holding them expanded.
Motherfucker.
Vant declared.
Welcome back, Sami Fram.
His brain was not fully online. He was fairly certain he had just admitted something he should not have. But he was also pretty sure no one would understand what the hell he had just said. His arm worked again, so he smacked some sense into himself. He manipulated his eyelids and pulled delicious oxygen into his lungs, which helped reboot his system. His breath tasted horrible.
Ow.
Vant said, wrestling with gravity to get to his feet. His head throbbed to an insane degree.
You are a fascinating specimen. Your vitals ceased and your body flatlined. This is confirmed. Yet more data is required. One incident does not establish a pattern.
How can you not?
To rule out deception, you will die for us again.
That wasn't part of the deal.
As an incentive, we shall procure your wife.
The phosphorescent liquid in the tubes bubbled. Something was moving, being moved, through the fluid. A figure floated into one of the glass enclosures. A woman, hairless, naked. Below her forehead, 2 goggle-like cylinders were screwed into her eye sockets. A breathing apparatus protruded from her mouth, secured with bolts through her cheeks.
What the hell?
Vant ran up to the chamber to study the imprisoned woman. She was emaciated, floating with limp limbs. Her hairless head bobbed with the current.
You let her out right now!
Her freedom is contingent upon you.
What is this place? What have you done to her?
Vant pressed his teeth into his knuckles and bit hard. He was reacting from his gut, but he needed to hurdle over his emotions. He had to stick to the plan.
Unveiled Fram.
The cutting voice spoke to the prisoner.
Your husband is about to die. If he returns, you go free. If he fails to do so, you shall become a widow. Though do not dismay. You will enter into another union. A permanent union with the Immortals.
The Thalium soldiers advanced on Vant. He was seething, yet he managed to get out one key sentence.
Fine, kill me. I don't give a shit. Whatever you do, don't slit my throat. I need my blood to—
Slit his throat.
Suckers.
Vant thought. One of the soldiers extended a hard-edged metal finger. Another 2 grabbed Vant from behind. He struggled, enough to make it convincing. While constructing the plan, he and his companions had assumed there was no way the Immortals would settle for one demonstration of death. If this were to be the case, Vant had to control the scenario somehow. Thanks to his experiments at camp, he knew how long it took to come back to life from suffocation and from open veins. Keys to the con Phase 5, the sucker suck-in, had worked.
Goodbye, immortal imposter.
The soldier slit Vant's throat. The symmetrical scar given to him by death was now reopened. He choked on loose fluid and attempted to shut the flap of skin. Blood leaked from his neck and his legs buckled. He fell forward onto the tube containing his wife. She recoiled in fear, trying to look away. Vant's bloody hand slapped on the glass, leaving a smudged print as he lost his footing. He reached out to her again, pressing his fingers onto the chamber. His eyes bulged and welled up. Lam struggled to shield her view, shaken and confused.
Sell the lie.
Vant willed to her in his head.
For your sake. For everyone's sake. Sell the lie.
Vant slapped his syrupy palm on the container once again. She pressed her hand against the glass, on top of his.
Good girl.
He smiled at her. Then blood spewed from his gash, splattering all over the glass in front of her face. She cowered. He died. Blackness. Then, the smell of seawater came back first. Then the shape of the room. A thought appeared in Vant's head.
I hate dying. So very, very much.
His nerve endings tingled. Senses returned in random order. He heard the portal open, followed by the clank of armored boots on metal flooring as the soldiers entered the foyer. Vant then became aware of something damp covering his body, like a shivering blanket of icy flesh. A woman was clinging to him, her arms draped around his shoulders.
Sir. Sir.
Vant snapped into cognizance. He looked at his hands, which he expected to be stained red, but had somewhere along the line been cleaned, as had the rest of him. He felt his neck, which now had a fresh, clotted wound being held together by brass hooks.
Sir.
Shh.
He tried to speak.
You shush your...
Are you okay?
The woman was hairless and naked, shivering in goose-pimpled skin. Her eyes were bruised, scarred and sunken, a byproduct of the goggles unscrewed from her skull. Her cheeks had holes in them, and her lips dangled loose, devoid of shape from the months attached to the breathing apparatus. Vant rubbed his temples to stimulate his senses. He willed himself to think faster.
Sir, who are you?
This was supposed to be his wife, but she was inadvertently telling her captors the truth. She had no idea who Vant was.
Honey. Hey, it's me. Hey, it's Sami.
Who?
I'm your husband. Baby, look at me. Don't you remember me?
Vant grabbed her arms, hard. If the Immortals discovered the lie about their union, he would be in some serious shit.
I'm sorry, but I've never seen you before.
We've been married for years.
He shouted upward.
What have you done with her? Why doesn't she recognize me?
He hoped his hosts could not monitor theatrical abilities the way they could vital signs.
Your wife has been connected to our unified mind for a significant period of time. There are side effects to detachment. Her individuality will return to her with time.
Vant swallowed. Thank goodness. Too close. He felt the staples on his neck, holding the skin flap shut. It made him queasy.
We attempted to expedite your healing, Sami Fram,
said the voice.
I've died twice for you. I've done my part, now release her.
As you request. She is free. Or so you believe. You have bought your wife mere moments before her inevitable extermination. Off she shall go, into a world of disease, chaos, violence. She will not last a day in the wild before suffering enslavement, rape, or murder at the hands of savages. If by some miracle she should make it to the doorstep of some dogmatic township, she will be treated as a deserter, spit upon, and tortured until assimilated and forced to believe their empty promises. This is your final opportunity to reconsider. Here we offer sanctuary and a peaceful, united consciousness. Here she may exist without the burden of external threats and internal torments. Here we offer peace. Choose her fate, Sami Fram. Everlasting life in our paradise, or suffering and death in the outlands.
No question, option B. She walks, I stay. I'd rather she live with 5 minutes of freedom than suffer a lifetime of imprisonment.
Acknowledged. From this moment on, she receives no assistance from the Immortals. She is now a deserter from our ways. Let her live and die by that designation.
The fortress door opened. Lam shaded her eyes from the daylight. The best smile her numb lips could manage appeared when sunshine fell upon her face.
Perhaps one day all this will make sense.
He leaned in to kiss her. She gave him the cheek. So much for a romantic moment. The soldiers restrained Vant to prevent him from darting out the door. He did not struggle. He had no intention of leaving.
Walk due east.
He said to Lam.
Use the ocean and the sun to get your bearings. I left a stash of capsules for you in the woods near a tree that looks like a Y. Find the tree and you'll have all the food and water you need. Good luck, my love. It was fun while it lasted.
Thanks.
She said.
I really appreciate it, sir.
She walked out of the front door and into the open.
And now?
Vant thought as he watched her go.
Skii has my signal.
He hoped she was out there to receive it. Should Lam follow his instructions, she would walk straight into a rendezvous point where safety awaited. In theory. Daylight disappeared as the fortress door sealed.
Alone at last.
It is time to deliver on your promise, Sami Fram.
Yeah, call me Vant. Old fraternal nickname. But, before I show you the secret to my immortality, I think I need the grand tour. I gotta know what I'm working with, because my process is complex. Has a lot to do with energy and feng shui and, that sort of thing.
A pause. Then,
Your request is granted.
the portal opened, revealing the interior of the fortress.
Wow. Now, there's something you don't see every day.
Welcome to the sanctuary of the Immortals.
Vant took in the sight of the sprawling environment, bright as day from synthesized ultraviolet light. Hundreds of glass pipelines ran throughout the expansive domain, like a liquid-filled mega-highway. Millions of tons of glowing blue solution flowed through the winding water tunnels. Walkways zigzagged on multiple levels, access ways for bipeds. The inhabitants, however, did not need the platforms, as Vant discovered when laying eyes on them. Thousands of submerged humans in various age stages floated in the liquid. As with Lam Fram, they were naked, save for goggles screwed into their eyes and breathers bolted to their mouths. Some were fully developed. Some were highly atrophied. Others resembled children whose growth had been grossly stunted. Still others were incredibly old, with bones so frail their appendages wafted in the water like empty sacks. Their heads turned toward Vant. Thousands of goggled gazes fell upon him. These were the Immortals, corrupted humans who had made the ultimate sacrifice of forfeiting their humanity for the promise of everlasting life. They propelled themselves through the currents as though flying. A few of the nimbler specimens zipped around, pausing at various points to check variables. They stopped to investigate fluctuations in the temperature, vitals of other Immortals, or imperfections within the pipes. The phenomenon Vant had witnessed through Death's mask outside the fortress now made sense. He had thought the beings inside were hovering, but they were not. They were floating in the waterways. Vant descended a flight of steps, noticing the rubber tubing that ran across every platform. He traversed the catwalks and paced the edges of the pipelines trailed by a security detail of Thalium soldiers. Vant could not help but be drawn in. He studied the Immortals with morbid curiosity.
Can they hear me?
We can hear you. We are all connected.
Uh-huh. How'd you do this?
Arduous research and experimentation have yielded a vast understanding of organic processes.
Vant halted to study a sophisticated device churning away at the water as the voice continued.
Water is the foundation of life, and we have harnessed its true potential. Ocean water flows into our environment, where it is cleansed, treated with chemicals, and enhanced by ionic particles and stimulants to create ideal conditions for a neural network. To sustain our physical forms, we have adapted to accept nutrients through osmosis.
Vant's ears perked up at the word nutrients. An important part of the equation was missing. Perhaps detecting this, the voice changed the subject.
The electric impulses of our brains manipulate the currents to allow for multi-directional travel within the pipeline.
Why go anywhere? Why not just sit still?
We must exercise our bodies to prevent atrophy. While our consciousness is unified and our psyche is regulated, each immortal retains a portion of independent thought to self-administer bodily requirements.
Vant was impressed. Disgusted, but impressed. He climbed a flight of stairs parallel to the glass channels, taking it all in. He paused at an immortal, hovering in a quadrant quarantined by sectional dividers. She was delicate, like a wilted piece of paper. Her fingers looked like deflated balloons, and her head was pointing in the wrong direction.
What's with this one?
Faulty hardware has resulted in a miscalculation of atmospheric pressure. The equipment is under repair, and the Immortal will soon return to full functionality.
Yeah, either that,
Vant thought.
or this is an attempted suicide. Just a tedious, self-administered execution carried out over hundreds of years.
Vant, who had been tortured, abused, and killed in a myriad of ways, felt nauseated at the idea of this endurance test of self-destruction.
Well, it's quite an operation you got here. It's the most impressive swimming pool I've ever seen.
Let us proceed.
Vant continued his walk from one end of the habitat to the other. All the while, not one of the Immortals took their goggled eyes off of him. At the far side of the expansive chamber, a cargo door lifted. Vant and the soldiers entered the armory. An enormous quantity of thallium exosuits stood lifeless. Their casings were empty of liquid filling and missing their helmets. They were organized with precision, stored in symmetrical rows. Ultraviolet light glinted off their superbly constructed shells. Vant approached the front lines and poked his head into the neck hole of a suit. It was hollow. No controls, no mechanics, nothing. Vant turned his gaze upward to intertwining rubber tubes dangling from the rafters above the armor. Several dripped moisture onto the steel floor, their purpose clear: to fill the suits with the Immortals' treated liquid concoction. Vant surmised that indoctrinated Immortals were inserted into the casings, and they used their thoughts to send impulses to power the currents within. This would move the thallium suits, similar to how they manipulated their movements inside the liquid pipelines. It made sense why the protective shells appeared devoid of humanoid assistance in land escape. Vant was not given the opportunity to study the helmets of the armor, where the tiny Immortals most likely controlled the suits.
Our protection.
Your army.
With the security detail in tow, Vant entered a mechanical foundry.
These machines sustain our infrastructure.
Assembly lines of robotic arms were constructing suits of armor, polishing glass panels for the liquid highway, cutting rubber tubes, and assembling looping pieces of material with the same properties as the massive hose that had sucked up the people of Land Escape. Vant also noticed corpobots zipping in and out of a small hole in the roof, arriving with raw materials and presumably departing for more. Continuing through a water treatment area, Vant observed automated laboratory setups, mixing chemicals and pumping them into the liquid. One particular machine stood out. It churned a thick, soupy pool of organic material, perhaps the nutrients of which the voice had spoken.
This concludes the walkthrough.
Vant knew an underground stronghold containing 1,000 captives lay beneath his feet.
I guess that's not something we're seeing.
He thought with sarcasm. In a similar vein, he noticed one final cargo door at the end of the foundry, secured with more protective measures than the rest.
And what about you? When do I get to meet you?
We are a unified consciousness.
Bullshit! See, you said that your psyche is regulated, so someone has to be adjusting the dials. Oh, and back in the lobby, you were giving orders to your shiny little soldiers? That's a proof of hierarchy if I've ever seen one.
Silence.
Come on, you can't fool me. I've been around the block a few times.
Then,
Aren't you clever?
the voice spoke. With those words, the facade was finally dropped.
I can smell a dictator a mile away.
Vant said.
Open that door and let's meet face to face.
No man has ever laid eyes on our eldest Immortals.
I'm more than a man.
So you say.
Locks unlatched. Motors whirred. Sensors disabled. The final cargo door lifted. Vant entered. He descended into a glass tunnel. Water surrounded him on all sides. It was a habitat like an elaborate aquarium. Within the liquid were hundreds of decrepit humans, if they could even be called that. Their deteriorated bodies ranged in size, though none was larger than an infant. All were saggy, wrinkled. Many lacked key appendages. Unlike those in the main area, these Immortals existed without goggles and breathers. Decades of submersion must have allowed them to adapt for survival in the liquid formula without mechanical assistance. Vant proceeded down the aquatic tunnel and continued to eyeball the ancient Immortals. One of the beings was missing half of its body. Another's phallic part unceremoniously broke off and floated away. Yet another's noodle-like arm had somehow ended up in its own mouth and was halfway down into its transparent belly. Each one was more pathetic than the next. Vant arrived at the end of the corridor. He exited the glass passageway and paced to the far reaches of the chamber. A 50-foot pod stood at the apex. It was filled with the Immortals' liquid concoction, yet was seemingly vacant. It was isolated from the other quadrants, save for one pipeline connecting it to the Elder's tank. While mostly glass, it appeared to be impregnable. Dozens of rubber tubes ran from the back of the pod into the floor and walls, like dreadlocks of piping.
Approach and greet your overlord.
Vant moved closer. There was something in the tank. Something floating. Something the size of a nectarine. It was a head. A shriveled head, more resembling a fetus than an elder. Its eyes were concave, sunken into its forehead. A skin-sealed mouth had taken on the look of a grimace, frozen into position from a vast number of years without use. Dangling from the bottom of the head were strands of fine tissue, like hair, hinting at where a body was once attached.
I look forward to studying you,
said the Overlord, clearly the source of the synthesized speech. It somehow transmitted the voice through its thoughts, as, even when speaking, its permanent scowl never changed.
You, my fascinating new specimen.
Acidic bile rose up into Vant's trachea, and he was overcome by nausea.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's just that you're horribly ugly. I mean, I don't mean to be rude, but you're vile.
Appearances are trifles.
No, see, you don't understand. I mean, you're hideous. I can't believe I'm not puking. The fact that I'm not is a compliment. You're welcome, actually.
You will see things differently when unified with my consciousness. As all do. As all will.
What do you mean, all?
This world requires unification. I shall make it so.
A floor-to-ceiling panel slid open, revealing a gigantic panoramic window. Behind the glass lay the vastness of the ocean. The chamber they were in was below the surface. Beams of sunlight cut through the salty waters, and towers of kelp ebbed with the currents.
Oh. Great view, huh? Corner office is the way to go.
A school of fish nibbling on a pocket of coral merged into a formation and swam up to the glass. They stared at Vant, as the Immortals had done in the liquid highways, and as the immortal elders were doing now.
How are you doing that? Your chemically treated fluid?
Yes.
You're dumping it into the ocean?
Yes.
So the water in this fortress, it connects you to the water out there?
Yes.
In an evil plot to control the tuna?
The school of fish smashed into the glass. Their faces flattened and their bodies bent, killing them instantly. They sank to the ocean floor.
In a quest to control everything. This planet is predominantly water. I shall modify its entire supply, and as a result, dominate everything alive. Life shall have a unified consciousness, a single consciousness. Mine.
Impossible. To treat all the water in the ocean, that would take eternity.
An eternity is something that I have.
You'd have to surround everything on the surface with water.
The Thalium soldiers symbolically stood at attention. Vant understood the implication. Inside their armor, the Overlord's concoction surrounded the beings, thus controlling them.
Those connected in my waterways keep my mind fresh. Organic material harnessed from the living sustains my physical form. And you will provide me with the key to regeneration. Thanks to you, I shall repair my body and continue to extend my reach.
Wow, that sounds like a plan. I'm on board.
You are not.
Vant swallowed.
You have brought me nothing but lies alongside your special ability. You forget. I possess the capability to monitor bodily functions. I can see inside of you and detect when your heart rate elevates. I know when you are not being truthful. When you are lying.
Vant tried to wrest control of his heartbeat to hide it from the Overlord. Doing so was impossible.
I know that woman was not your wife. I know you have another purpose for being here. None of this is my concern. All that matters to me is your everlasting life, the one thing you have been truthful about.
Vant stared out the window into the sea, wondering how far the Overlord's grip already stretched.
Like everything which crosses my path, I regard you merely as a specimen. One whose attributes are to be studied, learned from, and harnessed. There's no hope for you other than what I make for you. You belong to me now. Your choice is not whether or not you wish to help me fulfill my purpose. It is whether or not you wish to be a lab rat. Your choice is between cooperation and dissection.
Vant's plan was unraveling. Besides the Overlord's detection of his deception, he was supposed to have received a signal by now. His troop had discussed a gunshot, a cannon, or some sort of earth-shaking force to let him know they were out there. While they had not calculated the signal to the minute, they had planned for enough of a buffer to grant plenty of time. By this point, the milestone had long since passed. Something must have happened to his friends, to his compatriots. No help was coming.
Well, time for Plan B.
He thought.
I'll have to wing it once again. The Vant special.
He picked truthful words while simultaneously maintaining the charade. He knew his pulse would rise with one false phrase, so he chose his words with care.
I don't wish to be dissected.
Excellent choice.
I made a discovery.
Go on.
I found something in the desert in the middle of nowhere. It's an artifact with supernatural powers.
An artifact?
A mask. It does incredible things. Doing good.
Vant thought.
So far, no lies.
Where is this mask?
In storage with Corpo, and if you let me use a bot, I'll get it for you.
Do so.
Vant noticed the wretched head bobbing in the water, excited.
Corpobots make their deliveries in the foundry. Access one. Bring this artifact to me.
Roger that, big guy.
Vant passed through the aquarium of immortal elders and exited the habitat. Although he was in great peril, he was not afraid for himself. His thoughts drifted to Skii and to his other companions. He was worried he had sent them to their doom. He entered the foundry and located the Corpobots dutifully zipping in and out of the small opening in the roof. He approached a docked bot.
Hi.
It chirped in acknowledgement.
I need my satchel, please.
The bot chirped cheerfully and launched out of the skylight. Vant used the time to survey his surroundings. Besides the 5 Thalium soldiers keeping watch over him, there were no other identifiable defenses in the compound. No turrets, alarms, motion sensors, or any other protective measures. Of course, there was the armory. If the Immortals managed to activate even a handful of additional soldiers, he'd be subdued, and fast. Minutes later, the Corpobot returned and docked into kiosk mode. It chirped politely and opened a storage compartment, revealing Vant's satchel.
Thanks.
His adrenaline boosted. Head spun. Fingers itched. Heart raced.
All right, this is it.